Hello chaps, welcome to the channel. John with you, and it's time now for another unboxing. Yes, and we're going back to some of the old classic kits. Yes, I love doing my old classic kits, and this, believe me, is an old classic kit. It's from 1972, the original kit. This is a 1980s reboxing of it, so it's still quite old. It's around 40 years old. The 1972 one is basically the same kit. Actually, it is the same kit. There was no changes done to it. All they did by the time they got to this one is they just changed the box art. That was it. They just literally got the same pieces, stuck them into the box, and just changed the box art. They didn't even change the decals. No, they just changed the box. And it's just really down to how ITALERI had their boxes, really, and it kind of kept up the style with the new style of box as they changed their box up along and went for this type. Okay, so our subject for the day is the German self-propelled gun MARDER 3, which is based on the Panzer 38T chassis. That good old Czechoslovakian tank. One of the main reasons why Germany invaded Czechoslovakia was to get their hands on these. They took the German-speaking part of Czechoslovakia first, and then a couple of months later, then decided they wanted the rest of Czechoslovakia, and the main reason was to get their hands on the Czechoslovakian armour and munitions industry, because it was quite advanced, and they thought that would come in quite handy indeed, and it did too. So as they realised that the 38T was getting a little bit outdated, there was sort of better and stronger tanks out there, they decided to use the chassis for self-propelled guns and other vehicles. A lot of them were used for breakdown vehicles and things like that. And of course, then we've got the Hetzer. The Hetzers, an awful lot of them are used as Hetzers. Hetzer basically not really the proper name for them. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. But the Hetzer anyway is also based on this chassis. This kit, like I said, it comes originally from the 1980s. From the 70s and reboxed in the 80s. So the parts and the plastic is actually quite old. It's not kind of what we're used to today. The plastic is a bit more of that brittle type of plastic. You know, modern plastic, if you bend it, you'll kind of get that white line in it. It'll kind of bend. Whereas with this stuff, you bend it and it more than likely will snap on you. So therefore, you got to be careful when you're removing small parts from the sprue, because when you're cutting them off, they might just snap if there's a bit of too much pressure on the actual piece itself. So that's one of the things to watch out for, one of the things to be careful about. Usually now when I do an unboxing, I look for a couple of little minor things. What I look for really is the condition of the plastic, and like I said, it's going to be that I already have it out of the box, out of the plastic and all that. The plastic is that sort of brittle type plastic. But what else do we look for? We look for ejector pin marks. Are they in spots that you're going to see? Does it have a lot of flash? Now, we don't mind flash in large areas. You know, say that this side panel here. This side panel there had a bit of flash in it. It's not going to bother me too much because it's going to be easy to remove off. Okay, but if it's on small pieces, you know, like say this little box here, if there's a lot of flash in that, those little holes there be all filled up, and that's not good. That's not good. Same with this piece here on the back. We don't want them to be sort of filled with flash. In other words, extra plastic that was sort of squished out from the mould. So we don't want any of that. Then it's a case of what's the condition of the pieces. You know, what was the moulding? Was the moulding good? Was it nicely nicely carved out and things like that. In other words, all these little rivets on the side, okay, and on the wheels here and around here and here on the back as well, are all these rivets nicely produced? As in, you know, will it take a little bit of wash and dry brushing and all that? Will it make them look good, or is it going to look a bit on the ridiculous side, shall we say? Are they even there? Do you have to kind of cut them off a little bit of sprue and try and stick them on afterwards? That can be a bloody nightmare, believe me, you. So, without further ado, let's get stuck in anyway. We'll have a quick look at the box art. On the box we got a picture of the Marder 3 in what seems to be sort of a burnt out town. No soldiers around or nothing happening, so it's not an action shot, but it gives us a nice sort of picture of the Marder anyway, and a nice sort of a colour scheme option that we can use. This appears to be sort of the German grey with small bits of yellow. Okay, so on the back of the box then it gives us an option with green and yellow. Okay, it shows us a built up. Somebody's already built it up for us and painted it all and gives a look and see what it's like on it. Okay, so you can sort of do it that way as well. Another painting and marking option for it, and just gets to sort of show you what the built-up kit is going to look like and give you an idea of what you're sort of getting yourself into. On the sides of the box really just gives some information on the Marder 3, nothing really to write home about for yourself. A little bit of info in various languages. Okay, so that's basically it for the box. So we're going to start quickly with the instructions first. I normally don't start with the instructions, but this time I'm going to start with the instructions. So okay, so we got Panzerjäger 38T Marder 3 Aus H, so it's the H model. Gives us a little bit of a rundown again on the Marder 3. It's a single page, all nicely sort of printed onto the one sheet for us. We'll start here with try to find it up there so easier to look at. Okay, so we've got our sprue map. Okay, of the 3 sprues that come with it. We've got those rubber tracks, and we've got a decal sheet as well. It doesn't show the decal sheet in that, but we've got a decal sheet as well. So we've got steps, right, and they're calling them figures. So figure 1, anyway, we're starting off with figure 1 and we're putting on the wheels and the suspension. 2, we're putting on the rest of the panels on the side, okay, and the return rollers along the top. Part 3, we're sticking the gun together, okay, the big shooty thing. You have to have a big shooty thing. Alright, 4, we're putting the back of it together, okay, mounting the gun onto its little spindly piece. Right. 5, we're putting the last few bits and pieces on the onto the side of the vehicle, the no-tech light, the aerial mount, some boxes, ammo racks, things like that. Ammo fitting in our gun. Step 6, then we're putting the side pieces of the casemate on and fitting our tracks and fitting the figures as well. Okay, so that's basically all the steps that are there. And then we got on to the last bits of it. Then will give us our painting options, and well, not all the options. I find it's always handy to have a look on on the internet, and you can get some nice painting and options there on that as well. Some nice different camouflage schemes. This is a nice one here. Actually, it kind of looks like sort of a tiger stripes in the brown and green stripes and a yellow background. This one's just plain yellow. So, and then we got the one from the box art, where it's plain grey with yellow. You can have it just say plain grey, or you can also have it any colour you freaking want, because it is your kit and you can do what you want to do with your kit. And then it gives us the positioning of the decals. Okay, decal positionings. Okay, and then it shows then the numbers of the decals and stuff like that. Right, so there we go. There's our instructions. Nothing really too hard by the looks of those anyway. They seem to be pretty straightforward. So let's get down to the sprues. Okay, so we'll start off on the biggest kind of sprue. There's 3 sprues. They're all about the same size as in size of sprue. Right, so we'll have that down there, and you can kind of have a close look at it yourself. Starting off, there we go, and now we're going to start picking up and playing with it. We've got our lower hull part here. Let me give it a look. You could sand that off if you want to sand it off, but, you know, it does give you the detail, extra little bits of detail here on the bottom, but you've got your big ITALERI mark there. Okay, we've got the side panels there. It's got the suspension mountings, and the mountings then for the return rollers are already there on the inside. Okay, we've got some diamond plate there, but what else have we got in the middle of the diamond plate? 3 horrible big ejector pin marks. Yeah, they are nasty. So you know, how are we going to get around that? Quite easy, believe it or not, because it's the fighting compartment. We can kind of stain up those areas, bit of mud and stuff like that. That's the only way I can see around it. But you know, the rest of the detail is there. So if you just sort of fill those little areas with a bit of dirt and debris, it won't be too bad. But yeah, it is kind of awkward that they put them right in the middle of an open section like that, you know, and they are big. They are quite big. Okay, so here we've got our driver's seat. Moving over here, we've got some more parts. I don't know what they're called, and I'm not going to sort of worry about them too much. But we do have, I'll put my hand behind it there so I can just sort of zoom in that a little bit easier for us, right? There we go. Okay, so we've got an fire extinguisher. We've got an antenna there, which I don't like. It's a bit thick, really, when you think of it. Some handles, things like that. Okay, there's some support brackets. We've got our tools. We got a shovel and a pickaxe and our jack. The exhaust. We've got. We'll show it from this side because there's some nice detail on these. Okay, there's the other side of that, right? So we've got our exhaust. There's our no-tech light. Ooh, come on. We've got some towing cleats there. Leave the cover there for the back of the vehicle. Yeah, nice little rivet detail on those. Pretty nicely done. And the hinges as well, they seem to be pretty nicely moulded. Okay, so they'll take a nice bit of a wash and a dry brushing. Okay, You got to take into consideration when this kit was made, and don't go comparing it to, say, modern kits, as in kits that were built in the last couple of years, because people got a lot more fussy over the years, and they wanted better detail and things like that. But taking into consideration the age of this kit is actually quite nice. I mean, apart from the big ejector pin marks on the inside of the lower hull so far, so you know, there don't seem to be really many in any other place, not yet anyway. Okay, there appears probably our engine deck, is it? I don't know. It's either the engine deck now or the front section. There's the front section there where we've got our ball mounted hull machine gun, and the driver and the machine gunner's vision ports. But again, I mean, nice rivet detail. I like extended rivets like that, because you can do them up nice. They'll take a nice bit of a pin wash, or a bit of dry brushing, whichever way you want to do it. I kind of use a bit of both really myself, but quite nice. Not too bad at all. Okay, our next sprue now will be our wheels. Okay, there's all those little fitting circly things for fitting the wheels. Okay, ITALERI have this system where you kind of heat the end of the spline, sure, and you put these on and melt it down over it, and that'll make your wheels turn. Now, I don't care about making the wheels turn myself. I'm actually going to glue them solid into place, so I'm not going to use these things at all, because they'll only kind of get in your way. I find them quite horrible, quite nasty. I have tried to do it in the past, but I stay away from that myself. I prefer the method of the poly caps that tinymoore would use, and a lot more manufacturers used. But this was ITALERI's way of doing it at the time. They've gone away from that whole idea now. But remember, if you don't use them, you'll have to sand down the piece that you're not going to melt down, because it expects you to remove, say, a bit of plastic by melting it down, whereas sanding it off will give you the same thing. Okay, so then we've got our wheels, right? 4 per side with a drive sprocket and an idler. There we go. I couldn't remember for a second. It's also got 2 return rollers per side as well. These have. Okay, so there's our suspension parts. There, that's the springs and the other parts of the suspension. And there's our wheel caps. Okay, they go in the center of the wheels. And this side then we've practically got the same thing again. So the sprue is sort of almost mirrored, but at this side we've got the here we've got the idler wheels, and this side we've got the drive sprockets. Now, pieces have come loose in the bags. Those 2 pieces are for there. Okay, so there we go. That's sprue A. Okay, the second of our sprues. Now, there are only 3 sprues in this kit. It's not that excuse me, it's not that high in parts count. Okay, it's quite low in parts count. Alright, so here's our third and final sprue. Here we've got some figures. Now, I have never ever liked ITALERI early figures. I honestly go as far as saying I hate them. But again, that's a personal preference, lads. But if you look at those figures, they're nasty. They are nasty. So I'm not going to use those figures at all. Okay, I prefer not to use when figures are bad, I prefer not to use them rather than use them, because they can ruin the whole thing. They really, really can. No matter how good you are at painting of figures, if the figures themselves are bad, you can ruin the whole kit. Alright, so anyway, what else have we got here? Okay. Oh, speedy. Wait, let it zoom down. We got some parts there, don't know what they're for or what they are. They're probably for the gun, the shooty thing of some part. Okay, we've got some spare rounds there, right? Some shells, we've got some spent shells. We've got two little wheels there. They're probably for the elevation, for the gun, the elevation and the traverse. We've got some more parts. I'd say they're for the gun again, I really would, but what they are at this stage I do not know. Okay, and the same then with these little pieces here. Okay, so there's the two either side for mounting the gun. Can only kind of guess that, because I'd say that's the that's that guard that goes at the back of the breech block, so it doesn't fly back and hit the person in the back, or should I hit them in the chest, should I say, a person that is in the back. Okay, what these two things here are, I do not know. They're probably part of the breech by the looks of it. Pretty nasty sinkholes there in that, I must say. Okay, see this, you can see the sinkholes in that. Whoa, come on, zoom in, play ball. Pretty nasty, don't like to look at them at all. But I mean, they can be filled or whatever if you want to. If they're in a very visible place, they've got to be filled. Same here now. Again, we got another sinkhole just there. So it's not doing all the best there with condition, is it? We've had some nasty ejector pin marks on the inside, and now we're getting a lot of sinkholes on this sprue. Okay, so we have our gun barrel. It's a two-piece gun barrel. Thank God we've no sinkholes on that. But it's a two-piece barrel. A lot of people don't like the two-piece barrel. Me personally, I don't mind it. Okay, here we've got some shell racks, ammunition storage. I'd say that's the travel lock for the gun barrel. So I have to hold the shooty thing straight. Oh, come on, camera, will you bloody well behave yourself? That is one of the reasons I want to change my camera, and all I have the camera, I just have to sort of get a way of linking it to the computer now. Another plate, don't know what it's off of, but we'll find out as we're building. There's the rounded mantlet for the gun, the sides of our casemate. Calling it a casemate, don't know exactly what it is called. I suppose you would call it a casemate, wouldn't you? Okay, again, not too bad. There's the other side. Some nice, that nice rivet detail is on there. Can we get a close-up of it? If the camera would only bloody well behave itself. Camera, if you don't behave yourself, I'll get rid of you earlier than you expect. Yeah, I'm speaking to the camera. On the inside of that now, I did notice, again, big round ejector pin marks, and you see them? They're shining out at you. Big ejector pin marks. And like I said, this is an open topped vehicle, so are they going to be seen, or is it in a spot that's not going to be quite so visible? you don't really know until you're sort of fitting it. So it's literally a case of dry fit it and then see, do you have to fill it. More than likely we'll have to fill it, I guess. But yeah, same on this one here. Big nasty ejector pin marks. Not happy with those, the ejector pin marks on those, but apart from that, you know, we've got ejector pin marks on those, we've ejector pin marks on the inside of the fighting compartment. But you know, it is one of those things, you just have to deal with it. Okay, so that's the kit. All that's left now are the tracks. Okay. Here's our tracks. They're those thin silvery ones. They're not bad. As rubber tracks go, they're okay, I suppose, you know. I put one together. Now that is only just it's not melted into place, it's just popped in. But see, there we go. I'm going to use them, you know. I am going to use them. I'm not a lover of buying aftermarket myself, but still a little bit of clean up to be done on them. We've got the join here where they joined the sprue. You see all these little connectors. So it's all just going to kind of clean up along the side. But apart from that, they seem to be okay. Detail on them is quite okay there, see? Apart from those ejector pin marks all down along the centre of them. But they are on the inside, you're not going to worry too much about them because they're nice thin tracks, and the fitting of the wheels and these things, they're tight enough anyway, so you're not really going to get to see down in there. But on the outside of the tracks, again, detail is there, it's not too bad. If you can get over that, then, you know, hey, save gone off and spending a fortune buying a set of full tracks or something. And there's one of those little bits of plastic there, not my dirty fingernail, no, that's a little bit there. That'll clean off with a bit of a knife, with a little schlipe of a knife, and it will be grand. Okay, so there's our rubber tracks. So finally, all we've got to look at are the decals. The decals, transfers, stickers. Okay, it's good to see there they're non-poisonous inks, so you can suck the decals if you want to. It's the number 210 is the number of the kit, and it's a MARDER 3 from ITALERI. Right, so we've got 4 different sets of crosses there, 2 2s and 2 3s. We've got some unit markings, some divisional markings, and then some actual sort of individual tank markings. Okay, we've got the rings for the barrel, and we've got name Paula. It's handy, I suppose, if your wife's name is Paula, you could sort of use the decals and say, look, there you go, I built you a kit and then called it after you, Paula. But anyway, that's it for this unboxing, lads. You know, from seeing that, would you actually go out and buy the kit? I don't know. Would you sort of wait for a newer one to come out? There are newer ones out there, some quite good ones out there, the MARDER 3s. But this is an old one. I'm sure you'll pick it up on eBay somewhere. Get your hands on the older kits. They're a bit of a challenge compared to the newer kits, but they're enjoyable anyway. So anyway, that's it for this unboxing. Hope you enjoyed it. It was entertaining anyway. And stay tuned to the channel, because I will be building this kit straight away. So within the next day or two, you'll find up the next installment, which will be build update number 1. Stay tuned to the channel for that. So subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. And by hitting the bell, you'll be notified straight away when I do upload it. And don't forget, give it the old thumbs up, give it the like, and I will see you all on the next one. So in the meantime, stay safe, enjoy yourselves, and be nice to one another, and I'll see you all again soon. Oh yeah, go and buy yourself a kit, build it and enjoy it. This is John signing off. See you soon.